Let's go back into the preamp. So first up, where is this channel going to get its input from? The default would be the local XLR on the rear panel, and that would be the input number 1 here. Now, if we press this, you can see we have a few different choices. We can have that unassigned. We can have the local XLR jack, the SLink, if you have an optional I/O box on stage, for example, USB, the I/O port if you have an optional card, or the signal generator down here. Let's go ahead and leave this as the local socket, and then you can decide which local XLR input you want to pull your signal from. Actually, before we get any further, let's quickly see how to name our channels. Just simply press on the name here, and let's imagine this was our kick drum. So we could just name that kick and apply. You can even change the color down here, so you could maybe color code all of your drum channels, for example. Now, all of these channels default to sourcing their input from the local XLR channels on the back with a green color and the abbreviation IP1, IP2, and so on. Obviously, it would be incredibly helpful to spend some time renaming these to meaningful names like Vocal 1, Vocal 2, or even maybe the names of the vocalists. So be sure to use the color code so that you have a quick grouping of similar channels, like say your drums or your guitars, your background vocalists, etc. Let's have a look at the rest of the preamp settings. You can supply phantom power here if you're using a condenser mic, and if you're using a dynamic mic like an SM57, just make sure you can leave that to off. Now, while we're at it, do not turn on phantom power if you're told not to with your microphone specs. Just look at the specifications that came with your microphone, because you can actually fry certain types of ribbon mics if you send them phantom power. So be careful with that. Leave it off unless you need it on, in the case of, say, a vocal condenser or, say, a drum overhead. As a safety precaution, you have to actually hold this down momentarily to turn that back on. I'll just go ahead and turn that back off. Over here, the pad, we have a 20 dB pad. If your input is too hot and it's clipping over here, even with the gain turned all the way down over here. So as we saw, the dedicated mic preamp setting here, you can either do it from here, or you can do that, if this is selected, you can do that with this guy right here. So let's go ahead and set up our level with a connected microphone. So I have a microphone here, check 2, check 2, check 2. Obviously, what you want to hit, you want to average around that 0 dB. You certainly don't want to be peaking like that. And you'll see various things lighting up here saying that's not a good thing. So bring that up here. Just make sure that you're not kind of whispering in the microphone and setting your levels there. It's, you know, when people are warming up on stage, tell them to sing as loud as they will be doing, and that way you can set your levels right there. So either you have it selected there, or you can use the dedicated one here. Now, setting levels, let me just put this mic down.